But what we're trying to do with our vacation rental customers and their guests is to definitely build something that's meaningful and memorable. We want something that they can leave in the guests' hands, that they can remember their stay well after they leave the beach, well after they leave the mountains, well after they leave the lake, so that as you had teed this up perfectly, to talk about building impressions, you want your name in front of your guest well after they leave to reinforce your brand.
Welcome to the Vacation Rental Show. This is your essential playbook to grow and scale your vacation rental business with advice and insights from the best in the biz. I'm your host, Linnell Gordon.
Welcome to the Vacation Rental Show. I'm Linnell Gordon, your host. And today I have a very good friend. We've been friends for a long time. I've been in the industry a long time, and so is he. I'm thrilled to have Steve Zimmerman. And guys, this is his title. Steve has been the CEO and owner of Beach House Logos for many years in our industry. You guys all know him if you've been to any trade show. He's been to every trade show in the last a gazillion years like I have. But his background in marketing and advertising and business development is really impressive. And Steve's built a career around helping property management companies and others to build lasting impressions for their guests, create brand loyalty. His work bridges like design, presentation, in creating memorable experiences. So helping guests to remember you in your marketing. So welcome, Steve. I'm really happy to have you.
Thanks, Linnell. Good. A great intro. I do, even though there's separate companies, the Bar Cups, we do have fun with the titles. One of our team members, he's Doc, which is Director of Cups. So we try and have fun with it, but we have a lot of fun with Beach House Logos too, and happy to be part of the vacation industry we're coming up on 25 years in February.
Well, I'm not even going to go into the my friends in Europe or outside of the U.S. who know what deep in the cups means in Europe. We're not going there. So what I do want to talk to you about is brand impression and how vacation rental managers can apply the principles that you have to create like emotional connections with their guests and help them remember me as a brand, as a property manager. What are some of the most successful things that you've seen with that, Steve?
So we're gonna hire you, first of all, because you've done it much better than I could, even though I talk about it every single day. But what we're trying to do with our vacation rental customers and their guests is to definitely build something that's meaningful and memorable. We want something that they can leave in the guests' hands, that they can remember their stay well after they leave the beach, well after they leave the mountains, well after they leave the lake, so that as you had teed this up perfectly, to talk about building impressions, you want your name in front of your guest well after they leave to reinforce your brand. We've done a lot of really creative things over the last couple of years. I'll be honest, when we started the business, I thought it was a 6 or 8 week or a 12-week business. Like I couldn't figure out how am I going to get to like whole year's worth of stuff. But we spent a lot of time listening and talking to our clients, and they really guided us down this path for 25 years that I had no idea how big it was going to be, how successful it was going to be, but it had to do a lot with their input. We try and do unique things. If it's okay, I'd like to just show you a couple of examples of a few things.
Sure. And I just got to say that anything successful in our industry, any company that's been successful has been successful because they have listened to their client, who is the property manager in this particular. And you go ahead. Yeah, I'd love to see you share what you've got. I can tell you my favorite when you finish.
I don't claim to be original about anything, but,
No, why would you? Who cares if you're original? Now, I know that there are property brands out there that strive on being original. First thing that comes to mind is Pinky Flamingo. Her stuff is incredibly original. And it's brands. And there are a lot of originality. There's a lot of originality in our business, but there's nothing wrong with copying an idea.
Yeah, but what we also try and do is, we want that person, if there is a lot of competition in their marketplace, we want them to be unique in their offering.
Sure, of course.
And we want to address whatever we can, so When I said how are we going to go in in the early days in 2002 and 2003, how was I going to grow this thing from like, okay, we've supplied these customers with what they need for the summer, whatever the season, but we started looking at all the different components of their business. So whether it's how they welcome their guests, whether it's how they set up their kitchen, whether it's looking at their bath amenities, whether they're doing trade shows, whether they're trying to look at homeowner acquisition and retention. So we've developed programs all year long that help us, and we've tried to understand the business model and the partners that are supplying the business model. So we could be all things to all people. I made a decision a long time ago that I would be all things to a specific niche and a specific industry, so that when they said, what makes you different? I know the business inside and out, and I can help you accomplish what you're looking to accomplish. So
You
some of
also
our,
have vacation rental. You're one of those few that's a vacation rental owner as well as a user and businessman, everything.
I do.
You do
I
it, you know
do.
it from different, yeah.
So, like if we're looking at the kitchen, we work with a couple of co-packers, and we've got these salt and pepper grinders that are custom, and we set these things up with a packaging that says, have a nice vacation, then take me home. You want to be
Oh,
you want to be on their dinner table
I
all the
love that.
time. Same thing with like this multi-spice jar. So one of the things that came up in a Airbnb study a few years ago, which we've read, said that one of the number one things that guests were asking for were spices. They wanted to cook at home. They wanted to spend time with their family. Yes, they want to go out and support the local marketplaces, but they want to have family dinners. A lot of times you're traveling with guests, so the number one thing that was requested were spices. So we developed, a few other ones. This one says, please use me on vacation and then take me home.
I love
So
that.
you
Enjoy your
want to,
vacation.
yeah. So some of the things that we're looking at, you want to be on their dinner table. You want to be with them when they go to the grocery store. You want to be with them during certain activities, so that when they're looking to book the following year, that you've got their attention. Now, we're just a small part of the marketing plan that all the agencies are using, so we're just one part of it to help stay in front of their guests.
So one of the things I would think about, guys, is like I would work with your marketing team. Like if you're with Blue Tent, I would talk to them about it. They've worked with Steve before and come up with some campaigns where you can get, and please forgive me, I call them tchotchkes. You're about to bring out the one thing I was going to mention in here. You've got that one thing that you just touched and brought up. Show us what that is and tell us about it. That's my favorite. Oh, no, it's not. It's something new.
So so you can tell me what your favorite is.
I will.
So we work with an artist around the country, and we have come up with a series of
Oh, that's beautiful. Because I'm going to explain what I'm looking at. I'm looking at take-home bags, but these bags are really cool. I just saw one that had a map of Ocracoke. This is a map of the Finger Lakes that you brought up,
yeah.
and they're for specific markets. And they're little bags that you can put your tchotchkes, whatever you're giving for them to take. And it's got maps of that. That's fabulous.
So what we've done is we hired a artist who sits down with us and the client and comes up with like what makes their area unique. We have about 20 of the vacation rental companies that we're doing this kind of, we call it a map tote bag for. And so everything is unique, but then as things progressed over time, our customers said, we really love the design. What else can we do with it? So, like Tybee, for instance, they did a bag, but then they also put the design on koozies, and they
Oh,
put it on playing cards, so that when you open up the deck, their map design is on everything. So they started building a set, almost like, if you go into a store and you're familiar with the Spartina line, how they've created their clutches and their bags and everything. We took inspiration from some of what they've done to create, these other lines.
I
So
love the fact that you have these on items that people are going to take home and they're actually going to use.
Yeah, so Ocracoke, since you brought them up, they had done the bag for probably 4 or 5 years. What they were doing to keep it fresh every year was they would change the handle color, they would change the piping so that it looked new. But then they said, what else can we do? So 2 years ago, they put it on canvas, and the map actually came out really beautiful on
It is
canvas.
gorgeous.
But then, they've got their branding on the side so that you know where you got it from.
So on
Uh,
the side, it shows Ocracoke Island Realty. That's a very nice tote bag.
Yeah, we do that for, we do it for all of them. Like in the gussets, you'll
They're
have,
gorgeous.
yeah,
So on the side, you're actually doing other types of marketing with it. Um, I love that. And if you bring that other one up that you just, and I know you guys that can't see it, I'm going to try to explain to you what we're seeing here. This is beautiful. Now, I saw this. The first time I saw this design was on the blanket. The
correct.
blanket is my favorite thing you've ever done. And I had to have one just for me because I loved it so much. And well, as a it's a giveaway. But this is something that Ocracoke Island Realty did. And it actually has like Highway 12 on it. It's got the Ocracoke, it's got the pirate, it's got a seashell, it's got footprints. It's a really great tote bag, but this same design, and it's got the ferry. Now, everybody that's been to Ocracoke knows about the ferry. So these are things that are specific to the area that the property manager is in. And it has like, you did this blanket that had this on it, but I saw it for other areas and I was really surprised to see each area has a very unique, and it was like a patchwork blanket, but it's really elegantly done. So, I mean, it
We
doesn't
we
look
had we
like
had
a
done
quilt.
about so the blanket you love, we had done about 85 of them, and we were really making progress around the country until our manufacturer decided it wasn't something they wanted to do to do
Oh,
anymore. So
awesome.
we haven't done those in about 8 years, but we were in about 85 markets with that blanket, but people loved it and said, what else can we do with it? So Ocracoke put it on a tote. A few others had done that as well, and they truly tell the story of a geography. And if you do something like that, your guest tends to want to keep it. It's more of a keepsake of where they were than anything else. And so
This,
if we're able to pull on those heartstrings a little bit through something like this, then that's what we're trying to accomplish.
I loved that because it was a blanket, it was a throw. I think
Yes.
that's worth finding a manufacturer for that. That was like out of all the things that I've seen throughout the time in this industry, I thought that was the most brilliant. Now, was it expensive as a giveaway, Steve? I think it was.
It was.
So I think it's for high-end or more high-end luxury markets, or, a campaign for cost of doing business one year. I don't know, but let's talk about your thoughts on that.
So when you're looking at what a vacation rental company can do, you just, started it. You're looking at different niches. So part of your marketing budget is how do you want to welcome your guests and what kind of impression do you want to make on them? Some of the other things that we're looking at, like where the blanket was more of a gift than on the welcome side, it was for homeowner appreciation or homeowner holiday gifts. It was for homeowner acquisition. Like the call before this, we were on with a couple of our partners talking about homeowner acquisition. Everybody's trying to grow their business, and there's a lot of tools out there. There's the postcards, there's, picking up the phone, there's little vendor welcome. I don't know how to say it. There's like a vendor market that you might have to introduce somebody within an area to welcome them. Several of our customers are always on the trying to figure out how can they get the best of the best within their marketplace, even if it's not theirs currently. So we work with them to create a wow gift that may get in front of, so that they get in front of their customer. There's millions of postcards that go out every day, and I look at them, but it doesn't make me pick up the phone and call somebody. And so, but if I had a nice gift or something that was a reason for that vacation rental company to follow up with me, that's it. You want to get somebody's attention. So we spend a lot of time with a few customers on that acquisition piece. So it's not big. They might identify 25 properties in their area. They might identify 100 properties in that area, along with a budget to send out to try and wow those customers.
Give me some ideas of those things. What kind of things are you doing there?
We've done something with snacks. So we've done something like this. That's like this one says, enjoy your stay. We've done another campaign that says, does your homeowner give you cookies? And so in this box is a canister of cookies. There was a little message that went in. It was very successful. We did that 2 or 3 years ago, but it was something to make the potential homeowner on the other side smile, because like who doesn't like chocolate chip cookies or whatever it might be. And maybe you don't.
I actually don't. I love sugar cookies. I'm one of those few people that didn't enjoy chocolate until I was I actually didn't take, I went to Hershey, Pennsylvania in my 30s and I loved it after that. Well, I liked it. I don't love it.
We
But
had
yeah, who doesn't love a chocolate chip cookie? I agree. As a real estate agent, we bake those for everybody when we have our open houses. So I'm with you.
it comes with a cute canister that you can do some phenomenal messaging on. So the canisters can be mailed by themselves, or they can be mailed in a box, and it's all about budget and what kind of impression you want to make with somebody. So
I love the ideas of creating a memorable thing that you send out to your homeowners. I hadn't thought about it in that way or prospective homeowners. So
yeah, we've done things where people have done different kinds of blankets. We did a blanket for a couple of realtors a few years ago made out of like a parachute material. So it was really big, went on the beach, but it was something that was specific to the beach. It wasn't going to get a lot of use afterwards. We've done a lot of stuff with, other kinds of blankets where we've printed something in a 4-color process with a photograph that was memorable. We can get to with some of our manufacturers to take a picture of their house. So if you wanted a picture of their house on a blanket or some other things and send it to them, what's better than your vacation rental, your home in your house. So, you're snuggling up to a blanket every day with a picture of your house on it. People love those kinds of things, but it's all trying to see what the value of the house is. Is the realtor looking for homes that are going to generate $50,000 to $75,000? Are they looking for those homes that are generating $100,000 to $200,000? Everyone's going to have a different marketing campaign based on the home that they want to try and acquire and that homeowner that they're trying to wow.
one of my favorite marketing techniques that I've seen are beach chairs if you're a beach location, they're beach chairs. And on the back of the beach chair, it has Hobbs Realty. Now, I didn't come up with that. Rochelle came up with that, of course. But every picture that I took from the front of my house last year, if I was there at all during Easter, I was there during Easter and the beginning of the season, there were Hobbs Realty chairs everywhere. And if you take a picture of the ocean, you've got a picture of the back of that chair. And that, from your front of your beach house. And I think I was like, wow, that's fabulous advertisement, especially when you see families that go out and they all have these beach chairs all lined up and it says Hobbs Realty all the way across it from the back. I mean, I thought that was brilliant marketing.
So we had a realtor in Ocean City, Maryland, a couple of years ago. He passed away a few years ago, but he wanted to always do things in bright yellow. And so he would spend part of his afternoons, especially in the summertime, strolling the boardwalk in Ocean City, Maryland. And if he saw someone with his yellow cooler, he'd go up to them and thank them for staying with him. So he knew that for him, if he could spot that yellow cooler, they were one of his guests. And he took a lot of delight into doing that.
That's lovely. And you know what? Those people, that makes me think of a lot of people that I know and that have servant's heart and they just want to make people happy and they love what they do as a property manager. It's always fun to meet them and to talk with them because they're happy people themselves normally.
So when you say that, the worst thing that can happen is if you come in and you get a call from a guest where the rental hasn't met their expectations, or something has happened that was really out of your control. The TVs didn't work, the air conditioning just turned off for whatever reason. We had a couple of realtors who would do what they call the oops gift. So they would have something on standby and ready so that if a guest had a poor check-in, a poor experience while they were there, they would go to the house with some kind of gift to say, we're going to make it right. We apologize, and it takes the heat off the situation. It really de-escalates it quickly, and that guest is going to remember it and be thankful for you. We had another realtor who took a different spin on things, where he would mail the customer something midweek, and so that it would be at their home when they got home. And his whole thought process behind that was, if the customer had a good experience, great. If they didn't have a good experience, I'm going to make them at least happy when they get home. And he did this all to get his reviews up, and it worked phenomenally for him. So everybody has a different take on things. We also work with the individual homeowners, who want to brand their home, sometimes in conjunction with the vacation rental company. Because at the end of the day, it's about getting a repeat guest, not just a guest. You want that guest to come back. We think that if a guest stays in the same house multiple times, they're going to take care of it better. They're going to treat it a little bit differently. I mean, we had a guest 30 years ago that we're great friends with today. I mean, he would buy things for our house all the time because it was for his convenience. You're sitting there sometimes going, what do we need that for? And he goes, because it makes me happy, And so, but he took great care of the house. And as such, we've become friends for 30 years. You don't get to know your guests that often. But sometimes the homeowners who are mailing out gifts either at the holiday time to say, our bookings are open for 2026. We hope you enjoyed your stay with us this year at our house. So all little things to try and get that guest to engage and to enjoy their experience.
This episode of the Vacation Rental Show is brought to you by Blue Tent. Blue Tent provides vacation rental pros with a powerhouse of services: direct booking optimization, strategic account management, email marketing, and channel management and distribution. All of your industry experts under one roof or inside one tent. Expand your digital footprint and turn browsers into local bookers at bluetent.com.
What have you seen in property managers over the years that has inspired you to do something similar to for your own self as a homeowner?
That's a really good question.
You've heard somebody say something and you went, wow, I want to do that too.
Let me circle back on that, because people take a look at things a little bit differently. So we have, where I said in the beginning of our talk, where I've listened to customers and they've helped us grow our business. So way back when, we had a customer in Oregon who said, I could care less about the humans. He didn't care about the humans. He wanted to build
pets.
He wanted to build a pet-friendly business.
Gotcha.
So he took it and said, I could generate more revenue with a pet-friendly business, because a lot of older travelers who aren't going to come visit me during the peak weeks are going to travel in the shoulder seasons. They want to come with their pet. And so he thought it was going to open up the world to him to other kinds of opportunity for pet friendly. So people who are going to travel with their pets. So we worked with him really hard to put a package together, and it would say welcome Barkley. Again, he said, don't care about the humans. I care about the pet. And over the years, he's built a business where he's got just about 200 homes, all pet friendly.
Wow.
And so people look at pet friendly for a lot of other reasons too. Some of the homes that we all have been in or experienced aren't like A+. They're a little bit tired. And so if you let home, pets into those homes, they may or may not rent better, but it was an option to take a look at. But overall, you want your guests to feel welcome. They're spending a lot of money to come on vacation. You want to make it as stress-free as you can, and that's what the property managers do. But sometimes that little surprise when they check in really makes a difference.
What do you do for your homeowners? I mean,
We
for your personal guest. I'm sorry, not homeowners. Steve, what do you do for your guests when they check into your home?
we don't do anything when they check into the home. We do stuff in the fall, and send something out to the people that have stayed with us, to try and get them to come back. So, we've seen different markets for us because we have more than one vacation home. Some, you'll see repeat guests all the time. Some you don't because the size of the houses are different. People don't book that home every year the same way. It could be for a milestone, a family reunion, a vacation, a destination wedding. Could be for a lot of different things. But we do things a little bit different, and we try and come up with something creative, to send out.
What kind of creative things have you come up with to send out?
Well, you want to do stuff that they're going to use. Try not to do anything around food or alcohol because you don't know what people's preferences or allergies are. So I know it kind of contradicts the cookies before, but you try not to do anything that's allergy related. People like hats. We've done stuff with hats. People like to have their destination, could say the Outer Banks, could say Nantucket, could say Hilton Head. People like things that have the destination. And when you're walking around, in a crowd, it could be your college affiliations, like when we see somebody with Penn State, we'll say we are, but you draw an instant connection to someone who's wearing a hat. You could put your house name on the back of the hat. You could brand it in other ways that's discreet. But so we've done things with blankets, we've done things with hats, we've done things with totes, we've done things with coolers, all within a good budget. But we're renting a house for anywhere from 15 to 30 weeks a year, so it's not a big investment, and we try and do things on a cycle. There are some years that we don't do it. It's sometimes poor planning on our end when we get busy with everybody else. You sit there and you go, I forget. But we've done Christmas cards or holiday cards to people just so that we stay top of mind.
So one of the things that I've done that I found it didn't work out the way I planned. Let me just say this. When we redid the upstairs of our beach house, we did a kids' room with bunk beds. And on top of the bunk beds, I was like, we have to have a stuffed animal on every bunk bed. You know me, I love stuffies, just saying. Anybody that knows me personally knows that. I love that. So I had this huge octopus, this huge fish, dolphin, and these huge stuffed animals on the beds. And I was like, those will be gone by the end of the summer. The kids will take them home. They'll like them. Would you believe I have never lost a stuffed animal in the last 3.5 years? And I have to replace them just because I don't want the kids to be using the same one every year. But they don't take them. And I'm so surprised.
I've lost a lot of TVs with kids who tell their parents, I brought that monitor with me, but we've never lost, well, I shouldn't say, probably our funniest vacation rental experience. This was years ago up in Nantucket. Someone had taken all of our light bulbs. And and we had checked in. We were the next check-in, and we're like, is the power out in the house? And we had no idea about it. Someone just took all the light bulbs. But that kind of thing is good. Like kids will remember that. Years later they're going to talk about something, and that will come up in a discussion. I guarantee it.
Well, I like giving people things that they'll take home and throw on their couch. Or I really like the salt and pepper idea and the spices. I really love that idea. branded spices that they take home. We always do a bag for our guests. And I say we, that's really not me. That's really Rochelle who does the property management for us. There's a lot, she has these amazing ideas of giveaways. And there's branded, I don't know what else she does.
So
That's why
just
I'm not the property manager.
yeah, but just to expand on the kitchen, so you gave us a great intro on our bar cups business. We're doing a coffee show recently and met a wonderful roaster. And so we've been testing their product for the last week. Really love it. So part of a new offering we're going to do is like K-cups, that the realtors can brand with their logo on it. There's 5 or 6 different flavors that are really good. There's probably about 10, but everybody has their own coffee preferences. And again, it's going to be impressions. So if you've got, the salt and pepper or the multi-spice, you got the K cup sitting next to it, maybe a pen and a pad. We think like a pen and a pad is the most basic thing in the world, but if it's not in every vacation rental, you're missing an opportunity for them to make lists, for them to play cards and keep score, because everybody's always looking for something like that. And if you give them a good pen, that pen's going to travel to dozens of people before it's done. We had a vacation realtor in New Hampshire that you probably know very well, and he used to order like a couple hundred pens when he first started. Then he ordered a couple thousand. And I asked him one day, I said, your business is like X number of homes. What are you doing with the pens? He goes, I'm going to the restaurants in town. I'm going to the bars. I'm passing my pens out every place. And it really helped him with his business.
That's so funny because, Steve, you think about, we've been doing pens for 1,000 years. We've been doing pens since I started my company years and years ago. The first thing people sent out as soon as you incorporated they found you incorporated, they sent you out a pen and other kinds of little things that are marketed for your particular company. But here's the thing that I find fascinating about that. 2 weeks ago, I'm cleaning out one of my drawers. I love calligraphy. I do. I'm a calligraphy lover. I love to do calligraphy. So I needed one of my calligraphy pens and I was looking for it. And I was like, I want to do XYZ. And I looked in this drawer and I've got 20 or 30 pens. And they're not my pens that I like. Obviously, I have collected these I've got a Ritz-Carlton in there. I've got, from all of our travels, I've got all these pens. And I thought, I don't collect pens. How did I get these pens? Well, obviously, I do. Obviously, I put it in my purse because I needed it at the time. I had one from this last time we were in Charleston at the women's conference. And I was like, gosh. And of course, what did I do? I threw away all those pens. I'm really picky about my pens and I only use certain ones. So I think that's an underrated gift. I really think that advice is good for you guys. You guys think about it. How many pens do you have that you've kept from these conferences that we've gone to? When you get home, you've got that pen. Where do you put it? If you put it somewhere, I think that's a great ROI. They're not expensive, right?
No, but like this is probably our favorite pen. You really can't see it, but it's got a nice weight to it. It writes really well. It's a little bit more expensive than some of the plastic pens out there, but people claw for these pens. Like if we're giving away the show, they've seen them before. They really like them a lot. So yeah, it's an underrated gift that's not a lot of money, but you want to. We think if you're competing with the hotels and other kinds of lodging options out there, take the best of the best. Every hotel room you go into is going to have a pen and a pad. Why shouldn't every vacation rental? And the vacation rental offers so much more. You could sit down and play cards with your family, but you got to keep score because, you don't trust your family. So
that's true. All right. So let me ask you this in closing. What do you think the best advice you would give to property managers who are looking to up their marketing game by working with their marketing team and then doing some sort of product, which is what you have. What advice would you give to them?
So we would say do something. You need to get your name out there to some degree. It's important. We have vacation rental companies that we deal with that look at what we do and look at it negatively. They don't see the value for it, but there is a lot of value to it. You know, think about what your guest is going to do while they're on vacation with you. Are you a beach destination? Coolers and totes are some of the best things. Are you in the mountains? Are you going to do a lot of hiking? A backpack or a drawstring or something like that is going to work. Do something simple, even if it's like a lip balm. If you're a user of lip balm, that's going to be in your pocket for a couple of months. Every time that guest is putting it on their lips, you're reinforcing your brand. So if I could just say anything, if you're working with your marketing department, look at a budget. We can help you sit down and craft whatever you'd like to do. We've worked with hundreds and hundreds of vacation rental companies over 25 years. I guess from our side, we know what works and what doesn't work. We won't let you spend your money on things that we don't think are good without a fight. And the example I'll use for that is, beach pails or beach buckets were, everybody had to have them. And our thought process was three things are going to happen with that beach pail. The kid's going to break it and going to come back to you for another one. You might not have budgeted it. You rent it to a big family group and they want several of them and you didn't budget for that. Or third, if their wife was like mine, she would have told my kids, we're not bringing that dirty pail home. And so if you still want to do it after we show you options for the kind of money you were going to spend on what could work better for you in your marketplace, we'll still sell you the pail. But we want to make sure that whatever we do with you has some kind of lasting impact, that the money that you've spent, whether it's with us or others, is well spent. You want that name recognition, you want that branding, you want that loyalty. And it's something that your guests will really appreciate.
I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. I do. I know this is something you probably did not even want to do, but I am really grateful for you sharing your expertise over the years. When I asked you, I saw the look on your face.
I did look at the calendar many, many times going, and then you kind of put me on the spot and said, "Oh, I have something to do then, so make it quicker." So, or
I appreciate your expertise in the industry. I've known you for a long time, and I know that you care about your clients. You care about people in general. As a matter of fact, I remember that the reason that you did this to start with is that you left corporate America so you could spend time with your kids and, spend more time at home. And that's the reason you started your business. Am I right about that? Do I remember that right?
I went from running a $325 million business to sitting in my living room because I can't remember if it was my sixth or seventh move pending in 15 years. And it wasn't how I wanted to see my family grow up. And, I wanted to see them grow up with a father. I wanted to be involved in everything they did.
You wanted to coach them, right?
I coached field hockey for 9 years.
That's right.
Yes, good,
That's
good,
right.
good memory. But, I didn't know that this was the path or the journey I was going to take. It was a simple idea that we had in the beginning of going after people who named their vacation houses. And so we thought that ego and vanity of naming their vacation house, they'd want to wear it on hats and totes and everything. And, it was about a year and a half or 2 years into it that someone guided me down the path of the professionally managed vacation rental companies. And that's where the journey really started and took off. So it's been, for me, it's been a great unexpected journey. I love what I do. I love the clients that we work with. Fortunate to have lasted 25 years.
Well, let me ask you this. If people want to reach out and ask you questions, about their campaigns or anything they're doing, how would they reach you, Steve?
So they can send an email to marketing@beachhouselogos.com is probably the best way to reach us, or to call our office. So the website is beachhouselogos.com. And if you're in need of cups, you can look at bar cups too, just for Linnell's uh great intro. But Beach House, Beach House Logos is our life.
Yeah.
We enjoy working with everybody. We enjoy helping to create things that will make them better at what they do and make their business better.
I love the fact that you coordinate with marketing teams for the property manager. And I hope that you guys out there that use Blue Tent Marketing, that you will talk to them about, what they think as far as campaigns, and, have them, you guys reach out to Steve to help you with any of the ideas that you have. And Steve, thank you.
We have a great team with it ages us, but almost 75 years experience in the industry. So the team is really good.
Well, when Scott, myself, and Tim were at LSI Tools, we had similar numbers. I won't tell on us, but everybody that knows Scott Leggett knows that you want him on your side if you want to give a good number there. He's got a good number. He's been in the industry a long time. He's pretty fabulous and loved. He deserves every bit of the awards that he got this year. So
he was actually one of my first clients way back when.
Me too.
I would say he was probably in my first 5 or 10 clients that gave us a shot when we were trying to figure out what to do.
He gets it too with the marketing. He's very good at that. That's something that he really gets. Well, blessings, and thank you again, Steve. Thanks for being on. And I look forward to seeing what you do in the next year. I'm looking forward to some of the new stuff that you're coming up with.
Thanks, Linnell. Thank you, everybody.
This episode of the Vacation Rental Show was brought to you by Blue Tent. To find out more about how Blue Tent can help grow your vacation rental business, visit bluetent.com. Make sure to search for the Vacation Rental Show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. On behalf of the team here at Inhabit, thanks for listening.